how are you guys actually going to be successful in investing from overseas into the United States, 4,000 miles away? The one way that we kind of got around that or made our investors feel more comfortable is by saying we have a boots on the ground. If stuff hits the fan, then basically he can take care of it, right? So even if our third party property manager starts to fail, we have somebody in place that can go over there and kind of turn things around for us.
How did you guys go about networking in these virtual events?
It is a little awkward, meeting somebody virtually and things like that. But, we start showing up to all these conferences and all these events and these networking events and things like that. You start seeing the same people, right? And you start to get to know people. You start to get a network with other active syndicators, but also potential limited partners. And so just going in there, being present, and then screenshotting everybody that's there, and then following up on LinkedIn. And then you have everybody's name, right, from the screenshot. You follow up on LinkedIn, get on the message there, and then get them on a call or something like that. Learn a little bit more about them and see if they're, active GP or a potential partner as a limited partner. So.
Get some ninja stuff right there. Any other tips here while the hose is open? What else you got?
I think another couple of events, people would create like a Google Sheet, and you go in the Google Sheet and you put in your name, whether or not you're interested in being a GP, LP, KP, or something like that, and then your contact information. So following up is the key here, right? Mm-hmm. So even though everybody puts that information in there, you have to follow up.
How did you find the events?
Oh, it was a lot of searching Google, but then also just asking people like, hey, what events have you gone to? What are your favorite? And people are like, oh, I'm attending this one or I'm attending that. But through the connections on LinkedIn as well, people were sharing the events. It was like, hey, this is what's coming up for me this weekend, and we were like, oh, here's another one that we can join. And so it was just a lot of, I guess, like being present and using social media, like finding intention on what we wanted to get from it instead of just scrolling through and losing all of the information that's valuable that's on there.
So what are some of the intentions of what could happen once you follow up with someone? Like, what are you looking for?
At first, it was just to get to know anybody or everybody that we could, right? We're newer to the space. So whether that's meeting other GPs or potential KPs or potential LPs, right? And so just trying to get to know as many people as possible is just really our intention. We would hop on the phone with anybody and we would make time to talk to anybody just because we were new to space. We wanted to network as quickly as possible. And we knew that was our way to get known faster as well.
What is your follow-up process and how do you conduct those meetings?
Yeah, so once the meeting is over, I guess, or I mean, even to start from the beginning. So in the meeting, like the main thing that we want to talk is like their goals and to get to know more about them, because that's really like what people want at their core. Like they want to talk about themselves, they want to be like heard, and they want to be acknowledged. So while we're doing that, we're also taking notes, because when we send follow-up emails, we want them to be very personalized, and we want them to know that like we are paying attention and we want to know about their goals and we want to be able to help them like reach their why at the end. But then I guess from there, we also then drove them to our website. So when the call was done, like they would receive like a thank you for meeting with us. Like we really appreciate your time. Like here are the resources that we can provide. And in that is our website. So then they get to learn more about us from there. And we guided them like to, I guess, our thought leadership platform.
I guess, how did you figure out who you wanted to follow up with over other people? Like what were you looking for exactly as far as intention goes?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, once we learn their goals, whether or not they're interested in being an active investor or a passive investor, we kind of segmented them in that way, right? And we use a CRM platform, and we can segment them, tag them, and things like that. And so, but now knowing, and then also, okay, we know what markets that they're interested in if they're active, right? So if we were interested in looking in those specific markets, then we know who to contact for that market. But also on the passive side, if they're interested in being a passive investor, hey, now we provide them with different resources like, hey, here's passive investing information, and here's all the information that we published on investing. And then just providing with that constant education, like week after week, and then following up with them later on with another call and saying, hey, would you be interested potentially in investing with us? Things like that.
All right, so you mentioned this thing called a thought leadership platform, which we've been talking a lot over the last 12 or so months. And on that thought leadership platform, you're producing content, right? What kind of content are you producing? Is it a blog, video? Is it a podcast? And what frequency are you doing that?
Yeah, so it is a blog. It ranges from like market trends to the market that we're in, and then like real estate investing articles, and then mindset articles. And because at the beginning, we didn't really know what our flow should be, we were doing weekly. And so that's what the email was. And what we found out that was if we took a step back from that and was sending it less often, like through email, then we were actually getting more views. So we were still letting people know that we had content that was new and out there via social media, but we did not want to like flood their email weekly. And then we changed that to monthly.
Did you guys have any other previous experience by partnering and networking, or did you just like, why did you like just go full bore like this? What led you to believe that this was the way to go?
For me personally, I had no experience in networking or partnering. I was actually like so nervous at the beginning of the first calls. I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. So we figured that that was the way to go, just because, I mean, of what we were hearing, right? Everybody was saying that multifamily is like a team sport. Like you have to have a team to get you through it, especially in syndications, right? Because not only is your like general partner team your team, but like your passive investors are a part of the team as well. So we just knew that in order to like grow that team and to make it work, we were going to have to get out there. We were going to have to be comfortable and just like have it all work out.
Yeah, and the same for me, Michael. Like I'm an introvert. Like I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher. I spend time in the lab, right? That's what I do. And I avoid talking to people, you know? And so like seriously, like our first conversations with people on these Zoom calls, like Susie and I were like pitting out, like sweating profusely because we were so nervous. But you know what, Michael, it reminded me, you know, your wildest dreams live just on the other side of your biggest fears. And so we knew we had to push through that wall, and we knew we had to do this in order to achieve our dreams.
How'd you overcome that fear? Because I mean, I know what you're talking about. Back a long time ago, I was actually I have a software background, but for about a year, I went into sales because I said I wanted to learn how to sell. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, calling on CTOs and CIOs and trying to sell them some software. It was insane. I learned a lot, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I got to say, I mean, I was sweating like every single time before I got on the phone with someone. How did you guys overcome that feeling, right? Because you still have this feeling of fear and anxiety. And how did you do it nevertheless?
Yeah, so for like my work, since everything is remote still, I actually just asked my team if I could start to host all the meetings and take control of like a lot of the, I guess, like all hands. So then that gave me an opportunity to practice and to hear myself talk, because if I couldn't talk in front of my colleagues, then why did I think I could do it in front of strangers? And so that practice is what gave me the confidence. And then just showing up every week to these networking events, because once you get to see the same people, like the fear just kind of melts off. And so once that fear melts off, just I would say through that practice and through that ongoing time, it just became easier, like naturally.
Want to hear the full podcast? Then just point to your favorite podcast app and search for Apartment Building Investing, and you'll find me.